Okay students, the next protozoan disease that we will be dealing with is a very known disease known as malaria. Okay, so malaria, as you all know, it is caused by a protozoan. And which is that pathogen that causes malaria? Malaria is caused by Plasmodium. Okay, Plasmodium is a protozoan. Basically, it is a protozoan, and this Plasmodium is responsible for the cause of malaria. It is the cause of malaria. It is a Plasmodium is a tiny protozoan responsible for this disease called as malaria. Now, in Plasmodium, we have different species. Okay, Plasmodium is a genera. Okay, we have different species of Plasmodium causing this malaria. Few are Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae and Plasmodium falciparum. Here I have mentioned three species of Plasmodium: Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae and Plasmodium falciparum. They are responsible for causing different types of malaria. So ultimately malaria is a disease caused by Plasmodium. What is the Plasmodium? Plasmodium is a protozoan. That is the reason we are studying malaria under protozoan disease. We have already studied one more protozoan disease, which was amoebiosis or amoebic dysentery caused by Entamoeba histolytica, which is again a protozoan. Now, if you look into this, if we look into more details about this Plasmodium, we will come to know that malignant malaria is caused by Plasmodium falciparum, as it is the most serious one and can even be fatal. Okay, we have different types of malaria. Out of those types, the malaria caused by this Plasmodium, known as Plasmodium falciparum, is the most vital and it can be fatal also. Okay, it is the most serious type of malaria caused by Plasmodium falciparum. It can be fatal. That means it can sometimes lead to death. Okay, whereas very common type of malaria is caused by this Plasmodium known as Plasmodium vivax. Okay, the most common type of malaria is caused by Plasmodium vivax. It is not fatal. Okay, whereas the malaria caused by Plasmodium falciparum is a kind of serious type of malaria, and it can be fatal or it can also kill the person, infected person. Now, we all are aware of this vector which actually is responsible for carrying this protozoan known as Plasmodium. Okay, so the vector of this malarial disease or the vector for this malaria is female Anopheles mosquito. Okay, generally people without more knowledge they say that malaria is caused by mosquito. Okay, malaria is not caused by mosquito. Malaria is caused by this protozoan known as Plasmodium. Okay, malaria is caused by Plasmodium, whereas what is the role of mosquito in the case of malaria? The role of mosquito is that it transfers Plasmodium into the human body. So, especially when we say mosquito, special type of mosquito known as female Anopheles mosquito, actually they are the vectors for this disease. That means female Anopheles mosquito, they carry this Plasmodium in their salivary gland. Okay, and it transfers this Plasmodium to a human being when this mosquito bites that particular human being. Okay, so female Anopheles mosquito in its salivary gland, it will be carrying this protozoan known as Plasmodium, and when this mosquito bites a normal healthy person, it transfers Plasmodium into that particular person's body and acts as a causative agent or the transfer agent for this disease known as malaria. Hope this is clear. Malaria is not caused by Anopheles mosquito. Malaria is caused by Plasmodium, which is ultimately a protozoan. Okay, and a female Anopheles mosquito just acts as a vector to carry this disease. It carries Plasmodium inside a person's body, healthy person's body. What is the treatment that can be given in case of malaria? There are certain anti-malarial drugs. Okay, doctors suggest certain anti-malarial drugs. The drugs are quinine and chloroquine. Now, what is the prevention? How do we prevent malaria? The only prevention here is to kill the mosquitoes by spraying chemicals like DDT, BHC, etc. And we can also use insect repellents. We are now generally getting it in the market. We use insect repellents. We get mosquito repellents and using mosquito net, especially with reference to kids. Okay, so we have to kill the mosquitoes by spraying certain chemicals. Otherwise, we need to use mosquito repellents, and the usage of mosquito net also is very effective in case of killing the mosquitoes. Okay, when there is no mosquito, the Plasmodium which is present inside the salivary gland of the mosquito cannot cause any more disease, because when there is no mosquito, there is no Plasmodium. When there is no Plasmodium, there is no malaria. Okay, so the best way to get rid of this disease called as malaria is to get rid of the mosquitoes. When there is no mosquitoes, there is no threat of this disease. Okay, now here in the next topic we will study about the life cycle of Plasmodium. Now you know malaria is caused by this pathogen known as Plasmodium. We will see what is the life cycle of Plasmodium, how Plasmodium completes its life cycle. First thing here we have to know is Plasmodium is a protozoan which actually needs 2 hosts to complete its life cycle. Okay, Plasmodium needs 2 hosts to complete its life cycle. We have already discussed about it. The first host which is required for the completion of its life cycle is mosquito. The second host is a human being. Okay, so Plasmodium has 2 hosts in order to complete its life cycle. One is female Anopheles mosquito itself, second one is human body. Okay, so the 2 hosts are, one is mosquito, another one is human being. Now, what is the life cycle of Plasmodium? How it completes its life in these 2 hosts we will study in detail. So this is the diagram which represents the life cycle of Plasmodium. Now, this is a normal person's hand. Okay, this is the hand of a normal person who is not infected by malaria. Okay, this is the hand of a normal person who is not infected by malaria. Now imagine here there is a mosquito coming and biting this person. A mosquito, female Anopheles mosquito, is coming and biting this person. And this female Anopheles mosquito is carrying this Plasmodium in its salivary gland. Okay, this is a normal person's hand. Here there is a female Anopheles mosquito coming and biting this normal person's hand. Okay, this female Anopheles mosquito has brought this Plasmodium in its salivary gland. It is carrying this pathogen known as Plasmodium. Plasmodium is responsible for causing malaria, I have already told you. So this female Anopheles mosquito is carrying this Plasmodium in its salivary gland. Okay, salivary gland, we all know we have a gland in our mouth which is responsible for the release of saliva. Okay, inside that salivary gland, mosquito is bringing this Plasmodium. Now, in which form Plasmodium is entering into the salivary gland of this mosquito? In which form Plasmodium is entering the salivary gland of this mosquito? That form is known as sporozoites. Okay, here I have mentioned sporozoites. Okay, in the sporozoites form, Plasmodium is entering into the salivary gland of this mosquito. Okay, in our life cycle, we enter different stages, right? Like we were infants, then we became, we were children, then we became adolescent, then now we are in adult stage, we will reach, old age stage. So in our life, we go through different stages, okay, from a child to an adolescent, to an adult, to an old age person. In similar way, this plasmodium, which is a protozoan, which is responsible for the cause of malaria, this plasmodium also has different stages in its life cycle. One of the stages is this sporozoites. Okay, now when a mosquito comes and bites a normal person, inside this mosquito's salivary gland, there is plasmodium. In which form? In the form of sporozoites. Okay, plasmodium is present in the salivary gland of this mosquito in the form of sporozoites. When the mosquito comes and bites this healthy person, these sporozoites, which is present in the salivary gland of the mosquito, enters that person's body. I will use the term sporozoites. You should know sporozoites are nothing but one stage of plasmodium in its life cycle. Okay, so the sporozoite enters the hand of this person. Then directly see here in the picture they have mentioned this part where it is indicating that sporozoites are getting released from the salivary gland of the mosquito into the hand of this particular healthy person. See here you can see sporozoites getting released. Now what these sporozoites do? These sporozoites directly enters the liver of human beings. Okay, since this is the hand of human beings are one of the hosts of plasmodium. The sporozoites which has entered, or the plasmodium that has entered the human body, it directly goes to the liver. Here you can see the sporozoites in the human liver. Okay, they infect the human liver first. Okay, so here you can see when the mosquito bites another human, sporozoites are injected with bite. Okay, when the mosquito bites a normal person, sporozoites are released. Sporozoites are, it's the infectious stage of plasmodium. Okay, I told you it is one of the stages of this life cycle of plasmodium. You should know it is the infectious stage. Sporozoites are the infectious stage of this plasmodium. Parasites reaches the liver through blood. Okay, so through blood, these parasites or plasmodium or sporozoites, it reaches the liver. After reaching the liver, what happens is the sporozoites enter each and every cell of liver. Okay, so liver has cells in it. Okay, so sporozoites, once it comes from the hand to the liver through blood, the sporozoites enter liver cells, individual liver cells which is present in the liver. Here I have mentioned this part represents the sporozoites. Okay, here this part represents the sporozoites which has already reached the liver. These sporozoites, they enter the liver cell. Here I have mentioned only one liver cell. Okay, inside one liver cell, these sporozoites enter. Likewise, there will be multiple liver cells in which these sporozoites will be entering. Okay, after entering the liver cell, sporozoites starts dividing. Okay, otherwise we call it as asexual reproduction. They starts reproducing asexually. That means the number of sporozoites increase. They just divide mitotically. Okay, and the number of cells or the number of sporozoites or the pathogen increases increases inside the liver cells. Here you see this is one liver cell with very few sporozoites. Now these sporozoites are more in number in this liver cell. Okay, the same liver cell, when it has more number of pathogen, it is shown like this. Now in a single liver cell, these sporozoites start increasing so much that the liver cell is going to burst open. Okay, so when the number of sporozoids increases, the liver cells are going to burst open, releasing the pathogen out of the liver cells. Okay, so here it's mentioned, the parasite reproduces asexually in the liver cells, bursting the cell and releasing into the blood. Okay, so the parasite which has entered the liver, through the blood, now it has reached the liver cells. It multiplies within the liver cells. Okay, when the number increases, the liver cell is going to break open and release all the parasites into the blood. When I say parasites, it's Plasmodium into the blood. Okay, this increase in number is known as asexual reproduction. Only through asexual reproduction the number can increase. Now, when the pathogen has come out of the liver cell, here the free pathogen that has come out of the liver, these pathogens are going to enter the blood cells, especially red blood cells. Here you see this picture. This is a picture of a RBC. Okay, when the pathogen or Plasmodium comes out of the liver cells, it starts entering the bloodstream and it starts entering individual RBC. So here there is one pathogen. Okay, this pathogen is entering a RBC. Here you can see it clearly. So one pathogen has entered RBC. Similar way, all these pathogens or Plasmodium, they enter different RBCs. So what happens inside the RBC? Again, just like liver cells, the number of pathogen or the parasite or the Plasmodium increases. Okay, they start dividing, reproducing asexually. Okay, here also asexual reproduction, where number of pathogen increases inside every RBC. Again, its next step is also similar to the step that has taken place in liver cells. Here also, when the number of parasites or pathogen, like I am using the term parasite, pathogen, it's all, these terms carries the same meaning. Let me explain with the help of a hand-drawn diagram so that it will be more clear to you. Here you can see a healthy human being's hand being bitten, being bit by a mosquito. When the mosquito bites this healthy person, what happens is the sporozoids, which is present in the salivary gland of this mosquito, enters the human blood. Okay, in the blood, with the help of blood, these sporozoids, which are the infectious stage of Plasmodium, it reaches the liver. Okay, in the liver, these sporozoids enter the liver cells. After reaching the liver cells, see here one sporozoid inside one liver cell. The number of sporozoids increases in the particular liver cell, and once the number of sporozoids increases in number, the liver cell bursts open and all the pathogens, they come out. Okay, since there is increase in the number of pathogen, it is known as asexual reproduction of the pathogen or the parasite. Now the pathogen comes out. After coming out, it enters the blood cells. Okay, especially the RBCs. See here I have mentioned the pathogen. Every pathogen enters one RBC. So this is the pathogen entering the RBC. After entering, here you can see again it undergoes asexual reproduction where it increases in number. So if one pathogen has entered, the number of pathogen increases inside a RBC. Again, when the number of pathogen increases inside the RBC breaks open and releases the pathogen out of its cell. Okay, so the pathogen comes out of the RBC. When the RBC bursts open, at this particular time, here there is a release of a chemical or a toxin, we can say, known as hemozoin. Okay, when the RBC bursts open in your blood, there is a release of a chemical known as hemozoin. Hemozoin. Okay, what is the function of this hemozoin? When the hemozoin is released in the blood, the persons get, regular chill, also high fever. Okay, people, having this malaria disease, heard complaining. We have heard them complaining that they, suddenly feel very warm, and suddenly, immediately after that warm, it is followed by sudden chill. They develop high fever. All these symptoms are due to this chemical known as hemozoin. This sudden fever, sudden chill, sudden that warmth is all because of this chemical known as hemozoin, which is produced when the RBC breaks open and release the parasites. Now, these parasites are Plasmodium. Now, it is in the stage of gametocyte. Okay, here we have studied sporozoid. This is one of the stages of, Plasmodium. This is the infectious stage of this Plasmodium. Here, when the RBC burst open, when the cells are released, now they are in the form of gametocyte. Gametocyte means they are nothing but gametes. Okay. Now, when we say gamete, they should be both male and female gametes. Now, when the pathogens are released, or the parasites are released from the RBC, they are in the stage of gametocyte. Okay. Now, there are two types of gametes. In gametes, we have two types, male and female gametes. Till the formation of male and female gamete, all these processes happens inside a human. So, first here, one of the hosts of Plasmodium can be referred as humans. So, sporozoids and gametocytes are the different stages of this parasite called as Plasmodium. Okay, Plasmodium is a protozoan which is responsible for the cause of malaria. Now, sporozoids and gametocytes are the different stages of Plasmodium. That's the reason we have, instead of using the term Plasmodium, we have been using gametocyte and sporozoids. Now, it's in the form of gametocyte. Here you have male gametes, here you have female gametes. Now, till this, all the processes happen inside the body of human. Okay, now, male and female gametocytes are in the blood of this person. Now, he is not a healthy human. He is a person who is infected by malaria. Okay, this person is having malaria because he is having all these symptoms and all these processes are happening inside his body. Okay. Now, male and female gametocytes are present in the blood of this man, human. Okay, male and female gametocytes are present in the blood of this human. He is not a healthy human, he is having malaria now. The same person's hand I have drawn here. Okay, the same person's hand is, I have drawn here. These male and female gametocytes, imagine they are in the blood, so it can be present everywhere in this person's body. I have just, highlighted the hand portion. Here these male and female gametocytes will be present in this person's hand in the bloodstream. Okay, we can imagine male and female gametocytes which are in the blood is present in the hand of this particular person. They are present in the hand of this infected person. They are in these separate stages called as male gametocyte and female gametocyte. I have represented two male gametocyte and two female gametocytes here. Now what happens is, in this case, he was a healthy man, mosquito bit him, he received the sporozoids entered his liver, entered his bloodstream. Now the pathogen has come out as male and female gametocyte, it is present in the person's blood. Now imagine another female Anopheles mosquito is coming and biting this person. This female Anopheles mosquito, when it is biting, it is not carrying any sporozoids in its salivary gland. It is a normal healthy mosquito. Okay, without carrying any kind of pathogen. Normal female Anopheles mosquito without the pathogen comes and bites this person. What happens? These male and female gametocytes which are present in the bloodstream of this person. Now he is not a healthy man, he is having malaria. A normal mosquito comes and bites, Anopheles mosquito. These male gametocytes and female gametocytes which is present in the bloodstream, they enter the mouth of this mosquito. Okay, point here to remember is that the mosquito is not carrying any kind of plasmodium or any kind of parasite. It's a normal mosquito coming and biting for the sake of one drop of blood. It is coming for a blood meal. Now, along with the blood, male and female gametocytes also enter the enter the mouth of this mosquito. Now, as soon as they enter the mosquito's body, male and female gametocytes goes to the intestine of the mosquito. There, female gametocyte, fuses with the male gametocyte. The male gametocyte fuses with the female gametocyte, and there is fertilization happening. Okay, so they are male and female gametocyte which is present in the bloodstream of this person, malaria person. When the mosquito bites, these male and female gametocytes enters the intestine of the mosquito, and in the intestine, both male and female gametocyte, they fuse with each other. Fertilization happens. Okay, fertilization happens. Then what happens is, in the intestine of the mosquito, these sporozoids are formed as a result of fusion of male and female gametocytes. Okay, as a result of fusion of these male and female gametocytes in the intestine of the mosquito, these sporozoids are formed. Sporozoids are the infectious stage of this plasmodium. Okay, now it is in the intestine of the mosquito. Intestine of mosquito, when the male and female gametocyte fuse, it leads to the formation of sporozoids which is present in the intestine now. Now from the intestine, it moves to the salivary gland of the mosquito. Okay, these sporozoids which are formed as a result of fusion of male and female gametocyte, from the intestine, they move to the salivary gland of the mosquito. They move to the salivary gland or saliva producing gland in the mouth of the mosquito. They move to the salivary gland of the mosquito. Now all the sporozoids are stored in the salivary gland of the mosquito. Okay. Now the cycle continues. Now this mosquito which bit the person as a normal mosquito without carrying any pathogen, now it has sporozoids in its salivary gland. The same mosquito is carrying salivary, sporozoids in its salivary gland. So this is the salivary gland picture. The white color one and the orange one are the sporozoids. They are present in the salivary gland of host mosquito. Now imagine this mosquito was healthy. Now it is carrying sporozoids. This is the mosquito which is going to bite any other normal healthy human. In that healthy human also the same cycle continues. I hope this is very clear to you. When the mosquito having sporozoids in its salivary gland, imagine that is this mosquito, the same mosquito which is converted into a vector. Okay, it is carrying sporozoids in its salivary gland. How did it get sporozoids in its salivary gland? This is how. It went and bit a person who is having malaria. Okay, the male and female gametocytes entered its intestine. There it fused, it is converted into sporozoid. It comes to the salivary gland. When the mosquito is biting any other healthy human being, again the cycle continues. Okay, so this is the life cycle of Plasmodium. This is a picture of life cycle of Plasmodium Plasmodium is a malarial parasite. It is a pathogen causing malaria. I hope this life cycle is very much clear to you. If you have not understood any part, you can always get back to me and for any kind of clarification, because this question is very important for your examination. Okay, and let's move on to the next topic. We are done with the life cycle of Plasmodium. We'll move on to the next set of diseases, okay, which is referred as fungal diseases. Okay, the diseases caused by fungus are referred as fungal diseases. Under fungal disease, we have one important disease known as ringworm. Okay, you might have commonly heard of this disease known as ringworm. The pathogen which causes ringworm is they are Trichophyton, Epidermophyton and Microsporum. All these three are fungus. Okay, Trichophyton, Epidermophyton and Microsporum. These three are the fungus which causes this disease known as ringworm. Okay, generally these pathogens will be acquired from soil. They will be present in the soil, and in any case if they come in contact with the person's body, then they will lead to ringworm. It is not a fatal kind of infection. Okay, it is a mild infection. The symptoms of ringworms are, here you can see, appearance of dry, scaly lesions on skin. Okay, the person who is having this infection, the person who is having this disease called as ringworm, on his skin we can find a kind of patches, okay, which will be dry and scaly. That's what we call it as dry and scaly lesions. You will find this on skin, nail as well as scalp. Okay, so there will be some kind of patches, dry and scaly patches on the skin or on the nails or in our scalp. Okay, the person who is infected with ringworm will be having lesions on skin, nail and scalp. Okay, lesions are accompanied by intense itching. The person who is having lesions on his body, the lesions are accompanied by intense itching. Like they feel like scratching it every time. They will be intense or very high level of itching in the place where lesions are present. Now, heat and moisture helps the organisms to grow. You know, this is a common property of a fungus. Wherever there is warmth and wherever there is moisture, fungus tend to grow because they are always attracted towards this moisture and the warm condition. So, in heat and moisture, it helps the organisms to grow. They thrive in skin folds such as groin and between toes. Ringworm, generally they prefer to live in a place where there is enough heat and moisture. Also, they will grow more in skin folds, okay, where there is the folding in our skin, in our body, especially groin and between toes. Okay, between toes, like in between two toes, if there is moisture, the ringworm starts growing in between the toes. And groin. Groin is a region between your abdomen and thigh. Okay, groin is a region between your abdomen and the thigh. Generally, those regions there will be too much of sweat. Okay, so there will be moisture. So in that particular region, generally these ringworms, they tend to these organisms like Trichophyton, Epidermophyton and Microsporum, they tend to grow, causing this ringworm. Okay. Then, how it is spread? Does it spread from one person to another person? Is it an infectious disease? Yes, it does spread from one person to another person. If a person is having ringworm, okay, there are lesions on this person's body. If a person is using a normal towel, if another person from the same family or friends, they use the towel used by this person, then there is a chance that the healthy person also gets this infection on his skin. So using infected person's towel, clothes and comb, it is very dangerous because it can spread the disease into some other persons. Okay, so this is all about ringworm. Ringworm is a fungal disease. The disease name is ringworm. Okay, and the pathogen causing these ringworm are Trichophyton, Epidermophyton and Microsporum. The symptoms are this, and they grow in a region where there is enough heat and moisture. Okay, and they grow more on groin and between toes. Groin is a region between abdomen, stomach and thigh. Okay, and between our toes. Okay, in between toes there will be enough moisture for the fungus to grow. Like, we should not use any clothes or towels or comb. If the person is having lesions on the scalp, using comb of such persons will lead to the infection.